Let's let the meeting come to order, please, and everybody stand. Mr. Bishop, you do the invocation, sir.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, thank you for this beautiful day in Fannin County. Thank you for each person that's in this meeting today. Be with all of us and just help us all to work for the betterment of our county. Amen.
Mr. Scott, and do the pledge, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 2 is approve the minutes of the September 24th meeting and the minutes of the call meeting on October the 2nd, 2013. Do I hear a motion to approve these minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 3 is a resolution to approve executive session minutes. I'll read this resolution, I guess. I don't know if we need to or not, but anyway, it's a resolution of the Fannin County Board of Commissioners regarding review and approval of minutes of executive sessions. Whereas, official code of Georgia 50-14-1 states, a minute of executive session shall be recorded but not open to the public. Such minutes shall specify each issue discussed in executive session, that if matters subject to the attorney-client privilege, as discussed when the fact that an attorney-client discussion occurred, and then subject matter shall be identified, but the subject of the discussion need not be recorded and shall not be identified in the minutes. And such minutes shall be kept and preserved in camera and inspection by appropriate court should a dispute arise to the propriety of any executive session. Whereas minutes may be made and recorded and kept by the clerk of the county or a person temporarily appointed to take such minutes so long as the minutes accurately reflect the record of the meeting. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners of Fannin County hereby designates the chairman of or the chairman's designee, which may include the clerk of the county, to record minutes of an executive session of the Board of Commissioners of Fannin County. Be it further resolved that all members of the Board of Commissioners attend the executive session shall review the minutes and record and indicate approval accepted by voting in the next open meeting. Be it further resolved that following the conclusion of the executive session, upon approval of such minutes by a majority of members in an open meeting, the minutes of the executive session recorded and approved in accord with the terms of hereof and as noted on the minutes shall be transmitted to the clerk of Fannin County Board of Commissioners, placed in proper form and kept in confident file and preserved in camera for inspection according to OCGA 50-14-1 on this 28th day of October. Do I hear a motion to approve this resolution?
Are we approving the executive session minutes?
We just did a while ago.
Well, you're approving the resolution first and then you approve the executive session minutes. This resolution goes into place first. Okay.
The resolution's supposed to go into place first.
What he just read.
I've already approved the minutes after reading them. I guess I'll make the motion to approve the resolution afterwards.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Item number 4, now approve the executive session meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes?
Make the motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item number 5 is to amend the tax assessor board appointment term and for the employees of the tax assessor's office to be subject to the county personnel policy. Is there any discussion on this, or do I hear a motion to approve these resolutions?
What exactly are we going to be subjecting the tax assessor's office? How are you proposing that they adhere to the county's personnel policy?
Yeah.
And what is?
Well, they're really basically under that now. I mean, the county pays their salary, pays their benefits and their insurance, whatever. This is just a resolution that is suggested that we do by according to law. So,
Well, I've been studying this, and the way I understand in my research and in my findings, they're separate for a big reason why the Board of Commissioners can't meddle in the tax assessor's business. For one example, you know, all the people on the Board of Assessors have been appointed, correct, by previous commissioners. So how exactly, well, I mean, the Board of Assessors hire and fire their employees, correct? So the Board of Assessors are the ones who have the power to hire and fire and choose to discipline, not discipline employees. What different, I mean, what is this going to change?
well, it'd be on the county's personnel policy.
Which, I mean, I don't understand how you
The
can work for the Board of
employees-
Assessors. The employees can work for the Board of Assessors would be under our policy. I don't understand how that's
Well,
going to work.
here's the law, right here it
I mean,
says,
I know, and I'm reading that, and that's, I mean, this is how I.
48-5-262.
And it says commissioners can subject employee, it says commissioners can subject the employees of the tax assessors board to the county's personnel ordinance. So what ordinance are we wanting to enforce on the tax assessor's employees?
Well, what you need to do, I guess, is read the county's personnel policy. I thought you might have already read that.
What is it that the Board of Commissioners is going to try to implement on the Board of Assessors?
Basically,
There's a reason why this
more
is
than
being
what-
brought before the Board of Commissioners.
More than
and
what they're
I would
doing
like to
now.
know that.
More than what they're doing now. They come basically under it right now.
So what is the
Probably the legalities of it would be better
They-
answered by
they
Lynn.
don't.
Lynn could probably better answer that with the legality.
Well, for one thing is,
I guess you're the person I should be addressing. Ms. Dawes,
I'm not-
what exactly are we going to subject them to that they're not already subjected to now?
well, currently, as I understand it, all of the employees that work for the Board of Tax Assessors are hired and fired by the Board of Tax Assessors. Their budget comes through this office, through the Board of Commissioners. But as, like right now, I think they get county benefits and county, I can't think of the word, retirement. And so, but to do that, they really need to be under your personnel policy. If you want them to be able to go out and find their own insurance and their own retirement policies, they can do that. But to, as employees of the Board of Tax Assessors, they can determine their hours that they work. They would determine their compensation within the parameters of the budget that's set here. So if you give them a pot of money and it's $100,000, and that's their money, then they determine who's paid what, and what hours they work, what days off they have, and what hours their office is open subject to state law.
So how much different is their policy from the Board of Assessors to what is?
I have no idea what the Board of Assessors policy is. Never seen it.
Well, that's, I mean, that's what I would have to look into before I make a decision.
Okay.
Ms. Dawes, I spoke with the ACC County or General Attorney Jim Grubach, while I was in school, Grubach, whatever his name is. The law was stated right here as well in the book. For some reason, I got 2 days of this law down there last weekend. Every county is the same situation that we're in, except they don't have the qualified people that we actually have. They're still working under the policy that we're working under. 3 years to 6-year policy. Also, they're not coming, they don't have them under the, I talked to several people down there at Athens last weekend. And they have
they don't have them under their policy, bring them into commission and board policy, their fee. They pay them out of county funds, of course.
The way OCGA 48.5.262 reads, it's 262E2. It says the county governing authority shall be authorized in its discretion and upon adoption of the appropriate resolution or ordinance to provide that staff and employees of the county board of tax assessors shall be positions of employment covered by the county civil service system. In a preceding 48.5.261, it defines civil service system as a personnel policy. It says, following the adoption of such ordinance or resolution, the County Board of Tax Assessors may hire and manage such employees in compliance with the county civil service system. I couldn't tell you, Mr. Sosby, what other counties have done and don't do. In some counties, the Board of Tax Assessors are actually elected positions.
The problem I have with adopting an ordinance spelled as such, or a resolution, is if 10 years down the road, I'm not in this office, these two gentlemen aren't in the office. If they fall under the county's personnel code, does that not mean, as it's set up right now, the chairman is over personnel?
The chairman is a very fine distinction, because in 2000, the law was changed that said the county board of tax assessors hires and fires its employees. So allowing those people to have the benefit of being under the county personnel policy is something that came back in and was implemented in the law in 2010. I can't tell you what the difference, what transpired in those previous 8 years. I have no idea. But in 2010, the legislature saw fit to say that you can bring those people under your personnel policy for the purpose of hiring and firing so that they would be paid on the same scale and have the same benefits. But the hiring and firing is still under the Board of Tax Assessors.
But it still would allow for political influence if they're under the county's personnel policy. It would allow for political influence, be it from any party, if they're under the personnel policy. Is that not?
Well, in the sense that...
I mean, what I'm looking at is down the road, you know, maybe, I don't care if it's 4 years, 8 years, 10 years. If those people, it's kept separate for the very reason there is no political influence. Once they're appointed, that I can't meddle in their business, the chairman can't, opposed to, none of us can meddle in their business with what they assess property. I just feel like that, and this is how I'm educated as of up to now. Now, I'd like to see their personnel policy of how they handle their business. I mean, but at this moment, I think this would be kind of meddling in something that the law clearly states we can't meddle as the Board of Commissioners. That's my stand. Because I don't want to pass this resolution and in years down the road, have someone say, well, you know, you work under the personnel policy of Fannin County, and I don't want anything swayed one way or another, and that's why I believe it's set up this way. And the funny thing is, one of my first classes, it was kind of a crash course in this situation. And, you know, I got to hear some of the repercussions for meddling into their business.
It's very clear that you cannot assess, but that's not what.
But if they're working under the current personnel policy, and this actually brings up
I have no idea what they're working on.
well, that's why I would like
I'll
to
tell
see
you
that.
truthfully, I do not know.
I would like to see that and see how it compares with the county. I'd have to see that before I could agree to, but this right here, I think if they work on the current county's personnel policy, that would leave our chairman up to.
No, it's very clear that
But it is a very fine line.
The chairman would not have, whoever, for whatever county, whoever had the hiring and firing authority for that county would not have the hiring and firing authority for the employees and staff of the Board of Tax Assessors. That rest would be appointed Board of Tax Assessors.
But they could cut or raise pay.
Only the Board of Tax Assessors can cut and raise pay.
What's the point of doing this then if they have the authority?
If they have that authority, what are we sitting here talking about?
Yeah.
You give them the pot of money, just like you give the clerk of court a pot of money or the sheriff a
Or
pot
the
of money.
DA or any of them?
Do you feel like they're wasting that pot of money?
I don't have any idea. There is a procedure that if a board of commissioners, statewide, if a board of commissioners has questions as to whether or not the Board of Tax Assessors or the digest is being done correctly, you can ask for a third-party review by the Department of Revenue so that it is totally non-political. It's not done by anybody. In fact, the law is very specific. It cannot be done by anybody within the county. It has to be done by it's a three-person appointment done by the Department of Revenue, overseen by the Attorney General's office. It has to be one appraiser.
It's out of the county.
Yeah,
Basically, it's all from out.
totally out of the county, and then, so if there's any question on how your digest is being done, if there's any question on whether or not your digest is above value, below value, then it can be, the Department of Revenue provides that means so that it's totally not political between the Board of Tax Assessors and the Board of Commissioners.
Well, I think if that be the case, then we ought to get the Department of Revenue involved in this and let's check it all out.
Well, that would require a vote, a resolution by the Board of Commissioners to request the Department of Revenue to conduct an audit, and it's called the Performance Review Board Audit, and that's the provisions of 48.5.295.1.
Well, I make a motion we do that.
Do I hear a second?
It has to get the Department of Revenue involved, and they would audit everything that comes out of our current
Yeah.
Board of Assessors.
That they would, not everything that comes out, they would audit.
Because we just had a huge ordeal, you know, and I mean, so, I mean, if that could clarify some things, one way or another, and us, I can tell you this, I can't pass a resolution, but I don't know why we're passing it, other than, I guess, due to the situation we just encountered last week.
You make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I second it. All in
I'd agree
favor,
with
say
that.
aye.
Steve?
Yeah, I just want to say, I have sat on those review boards myself. I went to Dade County and sat on one of those boards of review. Now, you guys have to pay for them to come up here and do this. You have to pay for their meals, their lodging, their whole 9 yards.
I think it would clarify a huge amount, one way or another, as to where, I don't feel like we need another resolution at this point.
Okay, what about the other half of that resolution and the time limits? How do you feel about that? We got 6 years. I think every board of commissioners should be, it probably won't be us, but every 3 years, they should be able to appoint the board of assessors. I think that's
How are the terms now?
6 foot. I mean,
6 years.
6 years.
Okay, so,
6 years.
I mean,
And I think there are 2 more years.
2 years, 4 years, and 6 years. They're staggered for a reason.
Well, if you've got somebody serving a 2-year term, it's already out of compliance. They're supposed to be staggered, but they should be no less than 3. The law is no less than 3 years, no more than 6.
so on our board now, Jerry, David, and Mary Jo. What, is it all right if I speak with them?
Sure.
No, Jerry.
Sure.
At what point are all of you in on your terms?
I was just a point, I think mine runs out in 18. I think it was just an appointment less than a year ago. So I think mine runs out 18 or 19, something like that. And
And who's your who appointed you?
you guys did.
Go that way.
You
I've only been here a
you-
year.
You actually,
I'm trying to figure everything
I
out.
believe it was,
Mr. Webb?
originally, the original appointment, because we came in at a time when there had not been appointed assessors outside of the office. So we had staggered terms. One person went out each year, and then because of that, they were appointed, I believe it was appointed 3, 4, and 5 years. And then I was the short term, so I had been there 3 years, and then I was reappointed recently
So you were reappointed
for 6.
last year? For 6. Okay. Jerry, what?
I was appointed for 6 years. I've got about 3 more on mine.
And can any of y'all know about Mary Jo?
Mary Jo, no, everywhere.
Mary Jo being between us, I think, a year in between.
I'll have to pull out, I've got all of the affidavits and resolutions in file.
One of the things about the term, at least 3 years, I suspect it almost takes, or it did us, took almost 3 years just to get the training in through the state that's required. We go for a week once a year, and we just, actually all of us just completed the final leg of our training.
That's my
Almost
concern, is
3
how
years.
much, because I know how much training you have to have as a commissioner, and how much the county invests in a commissioner. For each commissioner that's elected, how long does it take to fulfill your training to actually start doing your job with full knowledge?
No,
We're saying 3 years?
It took about 3, yeah, you'll take a 40 hours, a 1 week, basically, you spend the week in training, and then usually one will roll around again, depending on how the state schedules those trainings. You have to get 3 different ones. The state will schedule, the introductory one, and then there's the assessment, and then administration. And so there's 3 different ones, and we've been able to do one of those a year. And we have to do that, and then within a 2-year period after we receive our full training, with every 2 years, we have to have 40 hours as well, another week basically of training. It may be 2 or 3 days here and 2 or 3 days there, but the first ones are full weeks of training. And generally, they've been about once a year as to where you can catch them in the state.
So basically, so y'all are all, Jerry, you have 3 years left, Dave, you have basically
Maybe
5,
I guess.
and Mary Jo,
Probably 2 or 3.
because that's what I would need to see is, because I know the county bears the expense of school and whoever's on the board of assessors. And that's what I would need to look into. I'm open to hear different opinions of, how everybody feels about term limits.
How do you feel about it, Jerry?
Well, I'd just like to say a couple of things. To begin with, the General Assembly down there separated the Board of Assessors from the Board of Commissioners for a very good reason. Now, just imagine for a minute that, say, Mr. Silence there had some good buddies over here on the lake that had some property. They thought it's too high. Well, if he's running our office, he comes in there and tells one of those employees, hey, so-and-so's too high. That's exactly why it's separate, and that's exactly why the Board of Commissioners is not allowed to run our office. They can approve our budget because we submit it, but that's it. And they did that for a very good reason, because they know it's very easy for political pressure to come into these situations, and that's exactly why the legislature did what they did. So in one way, I think it's outrageous what's happening right here, trying to do this period. It's not going to fly with the state to start with. You can pass a resolution if you want to. It does not trump Georgia law.
Well, it doesn't, according to this, Board of Commissioners have the authority to do that, Jerry. We'll not do it tonight, I'm sure, but we do have the authority to do that, and it's covered by law right here. So, anyway, are you making a motion that we,
No, I'm gonna research and find out exactly the term limits.
okay, do you wanna table this
Table,
motion?
I would move to table this, till I can
Earl, we do have our own policy and procedure manual.
And that's why I want to get all this information together, look at it.
You're making a motion,
to
you're making a
table,
motion
finish.
to table it?
Yes.
Are you a second? All in favor, say aye.
So you're tabling the resolution or the motion
The motion to,
for the
For the
column?
term limits.
research more about it before we.
Tabling the resolution for the terms.
Okay. Item number 6, we're down at the good part now. Who wants to be first? Public commentary.
I'm Joe Webb, and I'd like to preface my remarks that I've been attending this meeting now for about 14 years. Lane Bishop and I have had a number of discussions. Lane advises me I should pick my battles. So that I have. So I'm going to say a couple of things that I'm not going to pick a battle on. One, in 3 of the last 7 commission meetings, we've had lack of public comments or restrained public comments. 2, we don't have workshops here at the county. And 3, you can read on the agenda, do not misconstrue this as a question and answer session with the board. So those things literally are the chairman's prerogative. And basically he can do with those 3 items as he chooses. So I'm not going to basically argue that I've been shut down for public comment and things of that nature. What I'm going to ask is that this commission follow the state law for local legislation. That law says we ought to have a meeting at 6 o'clock. That law says the budget should be presented to the other commissioners by September 1st. That law says the chairman can only approve unbudgeted authorizations under $10,000. I'm requesting that those 3 laws be followed in this county. The second thing I want to ask is that we follow generally accepted accounting practices of the United States. Now I'll read from this year's audit. Management has omitted the management's discussion and analysis that accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America required to be presented to supplement the basic financial statements. The concluding sentence of that paragraph by the auditors, we do not express an opinion or provide any assurance on the information because the limited procedures do not provide us with sufficient evidence to express an opinion or provide any assurance. Now that's from our auditor. So all I'm saying is we ought to follow the law, local legislation, and we ought to follow generally accepted accounting principles here in Fannin County. Now as to no new business, I would like to know what the status is on our road list. Did y'all get together and make a decision what the list is and how it will be managed? If so, can we have a copy of the list? About 4 or 5 months ago, we had a wreck out by a rafting company that killed a child. And after that, we were very concerned that the state of Georgia, who has authority over that road, would do nothing to ensure public safety. Later, we decided that the county's opportunity at the Astor River Rapids was also equally dangerous. There are speed signs that aren't followed, there are inconsistent speed signs, there are passing lanes in 35-mile-an-hour zones. I asked, because I haven't heard anything done on that, is there any business that we have done as a commission for public safety in the Astor Rapids to the Shalford Bridge area? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. I think your first comment was on the meeting, right?
Yeah. Well, my first comment was that you have the prerogative to run the meeting the way.
Well, I know, just sit back now, let us do a little talking. Did you read that? In yellow?
In 1996, it says that before 1996, the meetings were on the second and fourth Tuesdays of each month at the county seat at 2 p.m. On the second Tuesday, 7 p.m. So on the first Tuesday, before 1996, the meeting was 2 p.m. The second the fourth Tuesday, it was 7 p.m. Which meetings shall be open to the public and may hold such additional meetings, and may hold such additional meetings as be necessary when called by the chairman or any two commissioners, provided all members of the commission shall have been notified at least 1 day in advance of such special meeting. So what that's saying is before 1996, we had meetings 2 to 7.
Okay. And after 1996?
1996, it was changed from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and changed to 5 p.m. I can't read the right at the bottom there. So.
I got a copy that was given to me
Hey,
by Lee
Joe.
that says something else.
Joe, this commission board can set their meetings any way they want to do it. Home rule authority, Joe.
If you change the law, I mean, I have a copy of the law that I was given.
This is a
And
law
it
here
says-
that we go by that approved of the General Assembly, Joe.
I understand, I think there's a more recent copy than that.
Well,
Can you provide us with
Yeah,
a copy
you-
of whatever?
Got it
you
right here.
approved?
give us all that stuff.
Yeah, it's LC 140344, Section 7, meetings. And it says, the commission shall hold regular meetings on the second and fourth Tuesday of each month at the county seat at 6 p.m. That's what this says.
It could be changed though, Joe, any way we need to change it. We can
I
change it with
understand,
home
you have to
rule
go
authority.
to
And we
the
did
state to
change
get
it.
it changed.
It's 5:15.
That,
Local legislation, you change.
that's not what the law says, that's what y'all chose to do
Okay.
around the law.
Well, Joe, I mean, you have some very valid points, you have some other points, I mean, it's something we can all look.
Well, I'd like a new copy of the charter, because the last one I was given by the county states it's supposed to be at 6 o'clock.
Well, if you could give us a copy of whatever it is you have there, because the charter that I read says 5:15.
Why is it so difficult for you to get here at 5:15, Joe? I work all day and Earl works all day, we manage to make it.
Well, I would say if we look at the public hearings required for a budget increase, the state requires those hearings to be between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. for the convenience of the public. I think if we go back a year when we were doing the emergency legislative ordinance, which was given to the newspaper and the lawyers before y'all read it, we basically had so many people in here that y'all backed up and said we'll have workshops, and then you said we'll have the meeting at 6:30 so these people can get to the meeting. So a year ago, under protest on the emergency measures, y'all moved the meeting to be convenient to the public. It's just basically more convenient to the public, and that's why when you do the budget or the tax increases, the state requirement is between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Doesn't give you any room on that public convenience.
I mean, I understand your concern, and I've heard other people with the same concerns. They say, well, we'd come to more meetings if it wasn't at 5 o'clock. So I understand what you're saying, but it is tough for all of us. I mean, sometimes I have to leave Cobb County to get here.
Well, let's change the local law. or get it
Well, it's something
clarified.
that can be looked into, and I would like to, if anything, not both meetings, but one meeting be later than the other. That way, if you and the other people that feel like they would come to our meetings, I mean, because I'd like to see this room full and everybody know what's going on in the county rather than saying, well, I heard this or I heard that. I'd like to see this room full.
Well,
And
have
I mean, that's what I would
workshops.
look forward to. So, I mean, time's about to change, and it's gonna be,
Be an hour late, earlier.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make the motion that the second meeting of the month be held at 6 o'clock. And if anybody feels like seconding, that way the general working person, and we'll try it and see how much, I mean, because I'd like to see the crowd pick up and people know what's going on in our county. And I hope it would help. More people come out, but I would say for a 3-month span, here's the motion I would make. For a 3-month span till spring, we hold the second meeting of the month, so that would be the 4th Tuesday at 6 p.m. That's the motion I would put on the table.
Okay, we have a motion to move the second meeting to 6 o'clock for 3 months. Do I hear a second? Hear a motion to move the second meeting to 6 o'clock. Do I hear a second? Hearing none, motion is dead. Okay, what's your next deal, Joe?
Oh, okay.
Was it about the budget? About the budget?
Basically, time of presentation of the budget, the charter says by September 1st. We haven't seen it yet.
It's to be presented to the commission board by September 1st.
There should be a public document.
No, here's what it says. Here's what it says, Joe. The commissioner shall submit annually to the commission, not later than September 1st of each year, beginning with the calendar year of 1975, a proposed budget governing expenditures of all county funds, including capital outlay and public works projects for the following year. The commission then, thereafter, will hold a public hearing, not plural, public hearing,
I understand one.
on the budget, giving notice at least 10 days in advance by publication of such notice of the proposed budget in the official organ of Fannin County and by posting at the courthouse door. The budget then shall be reviewed and adopted or amended by the commission at the first regular meeting in December.
Understand.
There we are.
So September 1st.
It don't say to the public.
Well, I mean,
It's to the-
any document to the commission is a document that's
And we're
available to the
just
public.
finally getting it put together, Joe. We're not really quite done yet, but the
It's a
two
work in
commissioners will have
progress
it.
the whole time.
Anyway,
It's not a one document piece of.
I know, but the first draft should be done by September 1st as
It is.
required by local legislation.
It
And
is.
it should be available to the public.
And it would be about exactly like that emergency ordinance that came out.
it don't
When
say
I
that.
first came on, the first draft comes out, and no one has even looked at it. Every year for the budget, the first draft of the budget would come out, and it would be utter chaos, because everyone knew that no one wanted what was in it, okay? But the budget, year after year, some things change, but just because, I mean, that's why people elect officials to look at those things. I mean, you get a copy, and you do have your chance to have your say on the budget. Now, you don't get to have your say 4 times before a budget's set, but you get to have your say. Everyone gets to have their say. But sometimes I think some people want to have more say than what everyone else thinks they should have say. The thing of it is you will get to have your say, but what we're doing is going exactly, as far as the budget goes, is going by the law that is set forward.
Okay, your other thing was about the audit. What was that, Joe?
No expenditures over $10,000. There have been a few of those over the last year or two. One was noted in your audit, $20,000 last October and November.
You're saying that they're not going by the governmental procedures?
They aren't in the budget, and they aren't approved by the 3 commissioners. They're approved by the chair. Sort of sounds like the road deal, which y'all are going to get on later, but there have been some.
Okay, I was understanding that the county wasn't going by the governmental accounting procedures. So
No,
I
this is a
invited
gap.
our
This is
auditor
a
here
gap.
tonight.
This is the
Just a
local
minute now.
legislation.
Mr. Tom Evans with R.L. Jennings, would you come up and kind of address, you heard what been talked about here tonight?
Chairman, I will address this because I want to make it totally clear what we're really talking about here. And in referring to this report, we're referring to this report of financial statements and the auditor's opinion on those financial statements. And Mr. Webb has referred to generally accepted accounting principles. Well, you might ask first, what are generally accepted accounting principles? Let's clarify that. The acronym for that is GAAP, G-A-A-P. We refer to GAAP all the time, but it's really generally accepted accounting principles, which are the body of knowledge of common practice that has been elevated above and beyond all other similar practices and promulgated by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board as the generally accepted practice. So where there are alternatives to do things, the Governmental Accounting Standards Board has said, this is the practice that's generally accepted, this is the practice that should be followed. And so the question is, whether or not the county is following generally accepted accounting principles. So I want to really just take a moment to address that. This document is a collection of financial statements. We call them the basic financial statements of a government. The basic financial statements are all here. Every required statement under generally accepted accounting principles that is required is in this document. And furthermore, in our opinion letter, we address that. At the bottom of, or at the top of page 2 in that report, it says that in our opinion, based on our audit and the audit of the auditors of the health authority, of the health department, the financial statements referred to herein present fairly in all material respects governmental activities, the component unit, the major funds, the other funds of the county in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And so, based on our audit, that is our opinion, this document and the statements herein are in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Now, our work is all reviewed. I have a staff that comes and works here. I review their work to make sure that everything is right. My work is also reviewed. Within the firm, we have a review process. We also have an independent review, what we call a COLA review, by another CPA who is also a governmental CPA that reviews these financial statements and makes comments or cites any things that may be deficient within these financial statements. Furthermore, we have a review done by the State Department of Audits. This report goes to the State Department of Audits, and they have a staff of people there that review these financial statements and come back to us with any comments of things that need to be changed or represented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The state of Georgia Department of Audits has accepted this report. So this report is in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Now, the thing that Joe Webb is referring to is supplementary information, okay? The document known as the MD&A, which is the Management Discussion and Analysis, is supplementary information. That document is not a required financial statement. It is not a basic financial statement. It is supplemental information. Now, GASB 34, which is one of the pronouncements from the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, does identify the MD&A as a document that they would want to see done, okay? But it is a supplementary document. It is not a basic financial statement. Therefore, when this report is issued, this report is in compliance with generally accepted accounting principles. Furthermore, supplementary information is not even required to be audited. And so when that paragraph that talks about supplementary information in the report says that we do not express an opinion, that is what our guidelines tell us that we must do, because we are not to audit supplementary information. We cannot express an opinion on supplementary information. That's why that paragraph is there. So I just wanted to clarify and make certain that you understood that the procedures being followed in the day-to-day accounting, cash receipts coming in, cash disbursements going out, and all the other processes within the Commissioner's office and in the function of the Finance Director, those are all being done, all those procedures are being done in accordance with accounting procedures that are generally accepted. So that, I hope, clarifies the issue of generally accepted accounting principles and the role of the MD&A in a financial report.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
I would simply like to read
From your audit.
It says that the MD&A, as you call it, is required by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Your audit says so right here. So I'm just simply repeating what your audit says.
I understand that.
Okay.
But you understand it's supplementary information.
I do.
And
I
all we're
understand
required
that
to do is say
statement
that
is
it's not
required by
present.
Government Accounting Standards Board is a declarative statement.
Okay,
It's
thanks,
qualified.
thanks, Mr. Evans. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm Carly Hammond, and I work with the Good Samaritans of Fannin County. And I guess I'm hearing all this talking about budgeting, so I may be a little bit late for this year, I may not be, but I'm not sure how a charity, how the commission board decides which charity to fund in the county. And I don't know if there's criteria that I need to be aware of, or if there's certain criteria that you use. I would like to know what those are. I guess the Good Samaritans is a 33-year-old organization. We are all volunteer driven. I brought information to the board before and handed it out to the different board members. We do a lot of fundraising. And I think you're all familiar with Good Samaritans, right? Okay. So we do a lot of fundraising. We're anticipating a pretty horrible winter as far as jobs, people being out of work. The electricity, I don't think, has anybody's electric bill gone down in the last, I mean, we're looking at a cold winter, we're looking at a lot of heating bills. So if you could let me know that, or let all the charities in the county, I'm not just saying Fannin County, the Good Samaritans, but I think if it's going to be an even playing field, then we'd all like to be able to access that. And it's hard when you're looking at the amount of people that we benefit a year, which is 400 about. Paying electric bills, paying rent, keeping people from being evicted, medication, different things that we do help people with. It's hard when someone else gives thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to help 8 or 9 people. So I'm going to put those two ends of that spectrum. We'd like to be somewhere in the middle of that. And is there a criteria? I mean, if this is budget time, do we need to submit?
We'll take that under consideration.
Do we need to submit something to a budget?
Late, this budget.
Well, no, I came, I don't know, 6 months ago.
Well,
But I'm just saying, is there a procedure? That's all I'm asking. Is there some way to do that? And what is the procedure?
you'd have to come up here and apply for it with the board of commissioners, and then we'll go, and we'll act on it.
And what does that, I'm asking a question. I brought the written literature and asked.
Well, we're not, right now, we're not gonna act on your request.
I'm not asking
Okay.
that. I'm asking
Well,
how I make
this is
it.
basically what you need to do when we start putting the budget together later. Next year, okay?
Okay, so my previous
Thank you.
requests don't mean anything then, when I was here before. Thank you.
It means something, but. Anyone else? Anyone else?
I said next year.
Public commentary is closed. We need executive session.
It's commentary.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
You gonna have commentary?
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
got anything you gonna talk about?
No, I don't have one.
What's you got, Joe?
You?
There's been a lot of things under question tonight, I mean, as far as, we had a broad spectrum of concerns, and a lot of them, about every one of them touch our local legislation. And it's just like the letter I read about times, when they were changed in 1996. That's been a long time ago to be following some of that same local legislation. And I read it sporadically, trying to absorb it and understand it. And I see how many times throughout the years it's been changed, things have been tweaked. And since 1996, I think one or maybe two times, the Board of Commissioners has looked at going into it. I mean, I don't know, when's the last time, the last time it was in.
I don't know, we
Now, I
had
think
it
it's
at
just,
6.
Well, there you go, first thing in the office, we spent 3 months on it. 3.5
I
years
just,
ago.
with the questions and all these things that have arisen, I just feel like since 1996, each time we need to do some changes to some of our policies in that local legislation. I mean, I feel like it's, because some of this stuff is so confusing. I mean, like you've got a set of local legislation that, I mean, I would love to have a copy of whatever it is you have. But I think we all need to dive into it, and look at it, and change some of those things. Because 1996, that was, I graduated high school that year. It's been a long time ago. And I would, at this moment, make the motion to go back into it, and us look at it very hard. The commission board look at it. Some of the people look at it and update it since 1996, and that's the motion I would put on the table as well tonight. And I don't know how the commissioner.
To change local legislation, we've got to send it to the line.
You understand that?
And I doubt if they take the time to look at changing time for meetings.
Well, I'm not talking about times of meeting, I'm talking about throughout the local legislation. It's a lot of things I feel like, and you know, too, you may not feel that way, but I feel like we need to update some of the things since 1996 in our local legislation. I've been studying it for a year now.
Okay.
And some of the things.
I've got some that we tried to do that with. We tried to update it. I'll let you read some of them. But right now, this is what we got to go by.
You made a motion, Mr. Johnson?
I made the motion, yes. And the motion on the table was first.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I second it to go back in.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
That's all the comments I have.
Okay. Executive session.
No.
I hear a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.